to the podcast called Elevate. The purpose of this podcast is to give you actionable steps that you can do today to change your life for tomorrow. My name is Mitch Pater, and today's guest is Kellan Pan. Did I say that right?
Yeah, it's Panicha.
Okay.
I just use Kellan Pan on everything.
I'll stick with Pan.
Yeah, that's good.
Kellan is a full-time real estate investor based out of Canada and is a huge inspiration to me and so many other people. Today we'll be talking about real estate investing, financial freedom, one of my favorite topics, passive income, and why it's important. Kellan, thank you for coming on, man. I appreciate it.
Thank you. No, I'm pumped. This is great. I'm always on the other side of it, so it's good to be a guest.
Yes, that's awesome. I know I tuned into all you guys up there in Canada. You guys seem to be killing it, and the reason I reached out to Kellan was one that I follow him on social media, and his work ethic stood out to me, and that's something that is very inspiring to me, and I think should be inspiring to others as well.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Great.
Yeah, I watch your stories, man. I'm just like, this guy he's out there putting in the work, feet on the ground.
My stories are half cats, half real estate. So.
I do.
They're not even my cats.
Dude, I saw a cat in the pan the other day and just was dying. Your stuff is hilarious. I love it.
I think any personal branding is like showing your life and then showing your business as well. People don't want to see, if you're a realtor, they don't want to see listing after listing, sold, buying, I have new clients.
I know.
They want to see your life, right?
I see those. Yeah, you see those people with the sold signs still, and I'm like, dude, that was years ago. You guys got to get with got to get with it. Whatever they do, whatever they want. So tell us a little bit about your Well, give us a little background on yourself, where you're from. Big picture story.
Yeah, for sure. I grew up in Sault Ste. Marie, Ontario, Northern Ontario. It's kind of a smaller town. I went and I did computer science for my undergrad. I did a 4-year honors degree and then moved down to London, Southern Ontario, and started working here full time for about 4 years. I worked 3 years at Cisco, and then I worked for another software company for a few more years since then. And throughout that time, I've been saving. The goal, probably from the beginning, was like just saving a lot of money, and I didn't really know what it was for. And then I was like, oh, financial independence is a really interesting topic. So I kind of dove headfirst into that, and I was like, all right, I understand the 4% safe withdrawal rate. I understand how to calculate my savings rate. I understand how long it might take before I'd be able to retire on whatever my savings, like a large chunk of savings in the bank that you can live off the investments. But then I discovered real estate, and about in August of 2016, I bought my first duplex, and I'm in it right now. I still live in one side of it and rent the other. And I realized the power of real estate investing to reach financial independence as a means for it. And so I dove headfirst into that. And I don't know how much you want me to get into the story at that point, because it's a long one, but
Yeah, no, I think that's great. That's perfect. Now, when you talk about the 4% withdrawal rate and all these different things, where did you learn this information? Actually, let's back up and just give the viewers a little insight about what is financial independence.
Yeah. So financial independence is the idea that it's a different term than retirement. So people hear retirement and they think, I'm going to sit on the beach, I'm going to go play golf. I'm old now, so I'm just going to relax. But if you can reach a state of financial independence, a state where you no longer need to work, you have enough money in the bank or enough assets generating cash flow that you can choose not to work at your day job anymore, you now have the option to start trying new things. Maybe you want to try a different career. Maybe you want to try volunteering more. Maybe you want to take on passion projects, start a business, invest in real estate, whatever it is you want to do, travel more, spend time with your kids. It's an awesome thing to be able to do, especially at a younger age, because it gives you the freedom to really chase your passions, chase your dreams without wondering, hey, how am I going to get my next paycheck? So I started learning about that through Mr. Money Mustache, who's one of the most famous online financial independence bloggers. And then there's the financial independence subreddit, which has been great. I've been following it ever since. And we also started up our own local meetup for this, because people are really hesitant to talk about money. And I think it's because they grew up in a household where their parents don't want to talk about money, maybe because they're embarrassed, maybe because they don't think I can't really think of a great reason why, but people don't like talking about it. People don't like talking about how much they make at their day job. They don't like talking about how much they're saving. They don't like thinking about retirement at a young age. So when we got a meetup group going, it was neat because you get 20, 30, 40 people together every month, and people are open about their finances. And what better way to learn about this stuff than to actually talk to people in real life about it in your own city?
Growing up, did you have that same, your environment, was it to not talk about money, or what was your family environment?
Yeah, it was. It was not. It was to not talk about money.
Yeah.
And I think because my family struggled a lot growing up with finances, so uh, I think it was an embarrassment point. It
Yeah.
was like we don't want to talk about it
Yep.
because
Yep.
it's not going well.
I think that's probably 90% of the reason people don't want to talk about it is because it's not it's not their focus, right? They go
Yeah.
and do this job and then they're content with that income and they just kind of make it work, right? Instead of focusing in and addressing the issue, which is, hey, I'm not making enough money, or I'm spending it on things that don't matter. You
Yeah.
know, I think a lot of people don't even realize what their expenses are, or expenses more or less. What are they spending their money on?
Yeah.
So I think
And
that's one key takeaway, and I'm sure you'll touch on that too. But is tracking your expenses and seeing where the money where is it going? Um,
Yeah, no, exactly. It even reminds me of like the fitness industry. You only tend to see the people that are killing it in the fitness industry, and they're jacked or whatever, and
yeah,
they're documenting their process. And yeah, we see people that are doing really well financially documenting their
yep,
process, but we need to see more people who are still in the trenches who have a bunch of debt right now, and they're going to document their process of digging themselves out of debt.
yes,
Similar to people who have a lot of weight to lose, and they
yep.
should start documenting that journey early on. It just helps humanize people, and it makes you realize that we all have our faults, we all have our struggles. It's not just about documenting your successes. Yeah,
Yeah, I love that. I love the real stories that you hear of people like, hey, I'm struggling with this, and this is the path that I took to get out of it, and you can follow that path too.
yeah,
And that's kind of why I started this podcast. I wanted to bring on people like yourself that maybe didn't have that upbringing where they were just financially secure. I talk about a little bit of everything on the podcast, but it's sharing those stories of adversity or figuring, and then can I take that and put that into my life?
yeah,
So that
for
I think
sure.
it's awesome.
Yeah, no, and financial independence, I think, is a topic obviously I like talking about, and I think it can be applied to anybody's life, regardless of their goals. What goals in your life wouldn't be well supported by a good financial backing, by not having to work for money? It's a great place to reach before you start, not even necessarily before, but while you're on the journey. Start building up your savings.
What pushed you in this direction to, you know, did you stumble upon one of those, Reddit forums, or what like got you thinking this way?
That's a good question. I don't remember a real like epiphany moment or
Yeah.
anything like that. I did, like, we didn't talk about money a lot growing up, but I did have incentives from my parents. I got like a small allowance, that kind of thing. And I think right from a very young age, I'd get, like from a young age, I was getting $8-10 a month or a week or whatever it was, and I tended to save it. And I remember I saved it up for months and bought a scooter, and it was like $120, and I was like a pretty young kid to be buying that stuff. And I think I've always enjoyed the idea of saving. I think a lot of people enjoy spending and they like that short-term high you get from it. I've always been more the delayed gratification. Like I'd pass the marshmallow test, if you know that.
Okay, sit in that chair. All right, here's the deal. Marshmallow for you. You can either wait, and I'll give you another one if you wait, or you can eat it now. When I come back, I'll give you another one, so then you'll have two. But stay in here and stay in the chair till I come back, okay?
Okay.
All right.
It smells really good.
So I'm gonna leave and then I'll come back, okay? So you can either eat it right now or you can wait. Either way, okay? Okay. How'd you do? Did you do good? You did?
Yeah.
You wanted to eat it, didn't you? Yeah. So did I tell you to give you another one? Okay, now you can have both. You need them.
Yeah.
Where, yeah, like I get more satisfaction out of delaying gratification, which can be an issue too if you go a little too far in that direction, because we see a lot of people in the financial independence world delaying and delaying and delaying, and it's not all about scarcity, right? It's not about eating beans and rice every day and not going out and never traveling. It's about finding ways to do all that stuff frugally, living the same lifestyle or very similar lifestyle, just at a lot less money.
Yeah, I think I saw your one post and it was like, hey, I just went on this trip and I made the entire trip on like, it was like $100 or something crazy. And my expenses are a lot higher than that.
It's backpacking, right? Like
yeah.
You split the gas with friends. You get 4 nights in the woods, and you stop and get some food on the way home, and you just have a blast with a bunch of friends out on a lake. Like, that's what life's about, right? If you can identify the things that make you happy, the odds are it's not things that cost a lot of money.
Yep. No, they always aren't. It always seems like you look back and I take all these photos and all these videos and stuff, and I look back and it's always the moments that have nothing to do with any certain place or thing. It's just, what you're doing and who you're with. The people that you surround yourself with in those moments is what really matters. And then, I mean, you could just be at the playground with your kid or whatever. It's kind of crazy, but
it's like playing video games with friends when you're younger. It's barbecues. It's going for hikes. It's just hanging out with people. It doesn't matter where you are. I mean, there's something to be said for travel as something that is expensive and also rewarding. But in terms of going to restaurants and going to bars and that kind of thing, like, go to someone's house, hang out in their backyard, like, find ways to have fun like that aren't expensive.
Yep. So all those things right there, we kind of coincide with the financial freedom thing, which is use a vehicle to get you from this point to another point. And your choice has been real estate. Now you can spend more time doing those. You can go to more barbecues. You can go to the beach. You can do all those things. What if someone's just starting out? What would your advice be on, maybe trying to learn about passive income or learn about financial independence? Is there a place that you'd point them?
Yeah. The first thing you want to do is track your expenses. So the whole idea behind financial independence is you want to know how much you're you want to know how much you're spending every year at your current lifestyle. And there's a good chance that later in the future you're going to want to inflate your lifestyle. Maybe you have a kid and now you got to spend a little bit more every year, or maybe now you want to travel more. But identify where you're at right now. How much are you spending on a monthly, annual basis? And maybe that ends up being $40,000 a year, which sounds like, some people that might sound like a lot, and to some people it might sound like very little. For someone like myself, for a lot of years at least, it was $25,000 or $30,000 a year. When you start house hacking, which is another topic we could talk about a bit, but when you're living on one side of a duplex or something like that, and you have tenants on the other side paying your mortgage, all of a sudden now your annual expenses are a whole lot lower. So figure out what your track your annual expenses, and then with that you can figure out how much money you need to save up before you can safely withdraw 4% of that for the rest of your life. So if you spend $40,000 a year, that means that you need to save up $1 million, because 4% of $1 million is $40,000. So you can now withdraw $40,000 of your $1 million every year indefinitely without ever touching the principal of your investments. You're living off the interest. Yep. But if you can say, hey, I can actually live on 25 or 20,000 or 25,000 a year. Now you only need 500,000, 600,000, which is a lot of money. But then you'd move into your savings rate and figure out how many years is it going to take before I can save that much, and if I'm investing it in a smart way. And it might be a little less time than you think. Those points are huge, and that was my first aha moment. I think when I heard that the 4% and just
all this talk about, getting to a place where you no longer have to worry about money. Like that is
Yeah.
so powerful in terms of just this like you see the end. I think when you finally dig in and you kind of like have this vision, like, wow, it's not easy, right? But it's a
Yeah.
lot easier, I think, than people think. And
Yeah.
when you can see the end, then you can map out a way to get to it. That's
Reverse
that.
engineering.
Yes, and I'm sure that's been something that you've done. And if it is, what did that look like? Did could you run your numbers by us, or is it a million
Yeah.
for you, or?
So it's funny. I tracked my expenses. It turned out, hey, I spend around 25,000 a year. But realistically, am I always going to spend that little? Maybe not. So maybe it's 30,000, 35,000, something like that. So I know that I need to save, 700,000 or something like that, which is a shitload of money. But I found with real estate, the beauty of it is that you don't need to save that much money.
Yeah.
You just need to generate that much passive income. And if you have, I can't really think of a great example, but right now the passive income that I'm getting off of my real estate portfolio is a lot higher than it would be if I were to sell it all and then put it into an index fund and safely withdraw 4% of it. So you can reach financial independence a lot quicker through real estate if you're willing to manage your portfolio, or even if you're not willing to. If your property's cash flow enough, you
Yeah.
can hire 100% of it out, and it'll still be enough to be in a state of financial independence. You got to check in once a month, an hour a month, or
Yeah.
something like that, and just to make sure things are all right, nothing's on fire. And
Dude,
like,
that's awesome.
like there's very few things that are truly passive, and the type of person who's interested in this topic, the type of person who wants to reach that state, they're not the type of person who's going to work 0 hours a month. They're going to be interested in putting some time into whatever it is they've built up and making sure that it's running smoothly. So for someone like myself, if I'm spending a few hours right now, I'm spending a few hours a week kind of thing. And most of that is texting tenants, texting contractors. A tenant will call me and I'll be like, hey, someone else go take care of this.
Yeah.
Right before we had this call, I had a tenant like right at 11 o'clock. We were about to start recording. I had to tell you like, hey, like the smoke alarm's going off and out of some place. And so basically, I'm just like, can you go push the hush button? And like, so that's a problem. But like at the end of the day, these aren't. I don't know. You can't. They don't raise my stress level very much. To some people, they do. So I think coming in with a little bit of a thick skin helps, and developing a thicker skin as you grow your portfolio and you run into more of these fires and you put them out a little more often, you get stronger, and it tends to bother you a little bit less. Bit of a rant. I don't remember the original.
Yeah, no, you're good. That was awesome. I think one of you guys always posts like problems or profits, and that always resonates with me because I think when people think of real estate, they immediately go to the extreme, which is, oh, what happens when the toilet breaks? You always hear that. It's so annoying, but it's like, dude, those problems are so small. And when you get that rent check every month from these tenants that are paying down your mortgage and putting you into a place where you now have more freedom, or realizing that those problems are so small in the big scope of things. Now you got someone else paying for an asset that's going to generate income for you for the rest of your life, or however you manage it. That is so powerful.
It is, and realize early on that sometimes the problems are going to be big, and it's okay for them to be big early on. If you're buying a property that's got a bunch of big problems, but you're willing to solve them, you're going to get even bigger profits.
Yeah.
So a few of the places I bought literally had meth dealers. They had, I don't know, all sorts of domestic issues, all sorts of, cat piss all over, like all sorts of these problems. But some of them are really easy to solve. Some of them are very difficult to solve. But if you're willing to put the time in, get creative, and figure out solutions to these problems, there's major profit to be made. And then later on, managing the portfolio it's smaller problems. But you're right. Find the problems, become the Advil to those problems, and you'll have a lot of success.
What is your overall goal now that, or actually, let's talk about your portfolio and where you're at with all of that. I think the last time I talked to you, I believe you've acquired 6 properties in 1 year. Is that correct?
I think it was 5 in the first year, and I'm at 7 right now.
Okay. So
Yeah.
7 multifamily, single family. What does that look like?
Yeah, so they're multifamily. So the 5 properties, I think is 15 units, and right now I have 7 properties. It's 23 units. So each of those, it's basically, some of them are bachelor units, some of them are 4 bedroom units. But yeah, so 23 different units right now. It's probably like 28 or so rent checks coming in every month, and 7 mortgages. So yeah,
That is awesome. Are you,
yeah.
for some people that don't know, after a certain point of so many mortgages, the bank will no longer, allow you can't just go out there and get 100 mortgages, or at least I don't know how to do that. But are you planning for, after you hit 10, is it 10 in Canada that you can get?
Depends on the bank. Scotiabank in Canada allows you to get up to 10.
Okay.
I've seen people push the boundaries on that. I think that if somebody's early on in the stage right now, they don't need to worry about that.
Yeah, I agree.
Get the first few, get maybe the first 5 or something like that. At
Yep.
that point, you'll know what your next steps are.
Okay.
Because you'll have a network, most likely. You'll start talking to people. You'll understand, hey, this is the bank I can go to in my country, in my city, and whoever. And you get references. You'll figure out ways around it later on.
Yep.
There's portfolio lenders, there's hard money lenders, there's all sorts of stuff. And when you get a larger portfolio, you can deal with higher interest rates if you want. Like, you're not nitpicking so much on all these things,
Right.
Because it makes a difference of 10, 20, $50 a month. So you end up the goal is to just acquire more real estate at that point, because you can take those hits. So early on, in order to acquire, because it's not this, like, there's a lot of smoke and mirrors around, hey, how does somebody get all these properties? My debt service ratios with the bank, they said I can only get the 1 or maybe the 2.
Yeah.
It's about finding, first of all, you don't take no from the banks. If they say no, you figure out, hey, like, what is it that I do need to do? What is it I need to give you in order for me to get another mortgage with you? And if there's an answer, follow through with that. If there isn't, go to the next bank.
Mm-hmm.
I know people that have had to talk to 10 different banks before they'd get their first mortgage or their 10th mortgage. You just have to, you can't take no for an answer, and you need to go to the next one. But essentially, they start taking the income from your properties and adding that onto your income from your job. So you can find a property, and they use what's called the 50% rule. So say it rents for $2,000 a month. They'll take 50% of that, which is $1,000. They'll subtract maybe $90 for heat, and then the property taxes, and then they'll subtract the mortgage payment. And if that value is above 0, then the property floats itself in the eyes of the bank. So they don't need to look at that property anymore. They understand that that property floats itself. It has enough income to sustain itself, and then they look at the next property you're looking to purchase.
Yeah, it sounds like you really kind of figure out, you do whatever it takes to make that next move. You're not worried about, the bank holding you back in any way, shape, or form. You just say,
No.
okay, when I come to that bridge, I'll figure out a path, right?
Yeah, and I think people need to realize there's a lot more money out there than there are deals. So if you have a good deal, if you found a good property, and you tell enough people about it, they're going to want to joint venture partner with you on it. They're going to want to lend you money and be part of this. They're going to be like, sure, I'll pay you, or you can pay me 10% interest on a loan and buy this place cash if you want. And you can then turn the place around and get a mortgage on it later. And short term, it's not a big deal to pay those types of interest rates, because even if you're borrowing $200,000 at 10%, for 6 months, that's $10,000 in interest, which is a lot of money. But if you're making $50,000 on the deal, then it's not a huge problem. And then you have a friend or a family member or whoever that's like, this is great, I just made a bunch of money for doing nothing. There's a million ways to get creative with it.
Yeah, I think that for me, that's something that I'm finding out is understanding all these different tools that you can use to either finance or incorporate different people, make them money, and then it's kind of limitless with what you could do. And I think that's really powerful too, is understanding all those different things that you can put into place. And that's where I'm kind of at right now, is I want to be the person with the knowledge to expand quickly and very efficiently as well. And I'm learning every day. I'm on Bigger Pockets learning every single day. Just to be that person that has the knowledge. And my biggest hurdle right now is actually finding the deal. Do you have any input for me? I'm going to get selfish here.
Yeah. Yeah, there's a million ways to do it, but you're doing a lot of the right things. And to be fair, right now I'd like another deal too, and I
Right.
don't have one. So we're always all looking for deals.
Yes.
If you're consistent with it and you're trying all of these different strategies, eventually one will come up. Continue doing what you're doing, and then try and add on to that.
Okay.
If this is your main priority right now, then I mean, if this is one of the main priorities you have
Yeah.
right now, then
It
yeah,
is.
like direct mail marketing you could do. I actually haven't done it. I've done some of it, but I know others that are doing it, and they've had a lot of success with handwritten and then photocopied letters.
Yep.
So they'll write it with a pen, they'll photocopy it. It'll look kind of like it's written, and it'll look a little more personal.
Yep.
And then they'll hire out somebody who will distribute 5,000 of them.
Yep.
And then they'll put a phone number on it that they can call. Obviously, hopefully not your personal phone number.
Yep.
And you'll get lots of calls, and a lot of them won't lead to anything. But if you get 100 calls and you go and talk to 10 of them, maybe one of them will turn into something.
Yeah.
There's obviously door knocking, so knocking on doors around your neighborhood. If you have a target neighborhood you like, talk to the tenants, talk to the owners, say, hey, I'm willing to buy the property as is. I'm willing to pay a finder's fee if you know someone in the neighborhood who's looking to sell.
Yes. I like that.
Yeah, that's key. I've paid 3 finder's fees, and I think 4 of my deals, maybe more, I think 4 of my deals were private.
Okay.
And they were all different. I found one through a painter. I found one through a property manager. One of them, a friend of mine, passed along to me, and most of these people knew that I pay a finder's fee. So
Yeah.
I paid anywhere between $500 and $1,500 if they've brought me the phone number of a landlord, or most likely a landlord in an area that I like. And if I end up closing on that property, then I'll send them a check or e-transfer for $1,000 or whatever.
Yeah.
And
now, is that
tell everyone that
Yeah.
you'll start getting leads.
Oh, geez, I bet. I think someone mentioned to me that was illegal. And is it illegal?
You might be thinking of wholesaling.
Okay.
Wholesaling is not illegal. Finder's fees are totally not.
Okay.
All it is literally like, hey,
You're paying kind of a service almost.
literally all it is here's the phone number of somebody in the neighborhood, and then you call that person. You're like, hey, I heard you might be interested in selling your house. I'm looking to buy houses, and I'll do it privately. I'll do it without using a realtor, which is not illegal. None of that is illegal. And you purchase the property without a realtor, and they don't have to pay realtor fees. There's some gray areas in wholesaling. Wholesaling is when you get a property under contract, but it's not with the intention of buying it yourself. You're gonna get a signed accepted offer, and then you're gonna pass along that offer to somebody else, and they're gonna close on it. And it depends on your jurisdiction, but it depends on where you are. But sometimes if you do it wrong, it can be illegal. Sometimes it's a little deceiving or misleading, at least to the seller. But at the end of the day, if they're happy to sell the property for the price that you agreed on, but you're actually selling it to somebody else, that's that gray area that you can decide if it's something you're interested in doing.
Some of those people that you listed brought you deals, the painter. So you're really good at making connections. It sounds like understanding the people around you. You just never really know who's the next source.
People here doing the We Buy Houses thing, right?
Yeah.
So bandit signs, they'll buy a whole bunch of them. Those, I don't think those are legal because it depends on your advertising laws in your city. Like,
Okay.
you can't put signs anywhere you want.
Yeah.
People do some of that. You can do obviously you can have a website and try doing some SEO and try and get attention to your website. You can do Kijiji or Craigslist or whatever your classifieds are, and just say, hey, we buy houses. Or you can say, I got creative once, and I just did one like, I said $1,000 for putting me in touch with your landlord was the title or something like that. And it was just like, if I end up closing on the property, I'll send you $1,000, and I totally would.
Yeah.
So from a tenant's perspective, they're searching, maybe they're looking for their next rental, and they're looking to move, and they're like, oh, I can just pass along my phone number, and there's a chance I'll get $1,000. And I mean, they're taking a chance because they don't know who the hell I am, but I would be happy to pay it if I end up finding a deal. It's getting creative. One idea that I haven't tried yet, but my time is getting more valuable, is is like I go for walks and stuff, and I see properties that have got, the roof's in bad shape. It's got 4 mailboxes, so it indicates there's probably 4 units, multiple meters, electrical meters, and I just said, oh, that's something that'd be interesting to me. But then I don't end up following through on it because I don't have the time to go knocking on all these doors. I've thought of the idea of getting just writing down on my phone a bunch of these addresses and then paying somebody and saying, hey, I'll give you all these addresses. If you go and find the phone number of the owner of any of these properties, I'll give you $100 for every phone number you get me.
Wow.
And that's whether you close or not.
Yeah.
It sounds like a lot. Maybe it sounds like a lot of money.
That's
but
awesome.
You have 10 properties that interest you, and you end up getting 10 phone numbers of the owners, and those could lead to anything, even if you're not buying theirs. But say you close on one of them, you've paid $1,000 for a deal, and I would pay $1,000 for a deal any day of the week. I'd pay more.
I'd pay more than that right now too.
Yeah.
So anybody listening, you guys just, any motivated seller out there, let's connect.
There you go. And it's not just about the sellers, right? It's about people who know the sellers.
True.
And yeah, it's just anyone who knows anybody who's looking to sell. Contact you before they go and try and sell it with a realtor, because they can save thousands of dollars in realtor fees, and you can make the process a lot easier for them, because you can leave your furniture behind, you can leave whatever their problems and be the adult to their problems.
You've just given me some good ideas already, so thank you.
No,
that's awesome.
It's so creative. That's what's so fun about this is. A lot of it is copying, and I think that it's not like school where like copying's a bad thing. Copying is great in this world, in the real estate world. Mm-hmm. Find strategies that are working for other people and do it yourself, and find things that are working in other cities and try it in your city.
Yes.
We didn't see anyone doing bandit signs, the We Buy Houses signs in our city, but they're all on Bigger Pockets. They talk about them all the time.
Yeah.
And so somebody here decided to actually do it here, and they've had success with it. Copy other people's strategies. There's nothing wrong with doing that. Show people that it works in your city too.
Another one.
What inspires you? Is there a certain person out there that you look at and say, hey, I would like to be in his position, and then also to kind of ride with that, what's your end goal?
Yeah, those are hard-hitting questions, which is good. So I would say, because I've been doing this for a year and a half, coming on 2 years now, and I met up with people at a local Bigger Pockets meetup. If you don't have a Bigger Pockets meetup in your city, start your own, become the hub of your own meetup group. It's super powerful, and if someone takes that action right now and they come back to this and message one of us in a year or so, they'll be like, blown away by how much that turned their life around.
Yes.
We had the Bigger Pockets meetup. We ended up creating our own meetup, right? And it's been amazing. Wait, I lost track. What was the question again?
Just what inspires you, or who?
So it's other people. So these people I met at the meetup groups. I think there's a lot. You read things online. You see all these people that are doing really well. You see Mr. Money Mustache, that kind of thing. But when you see people in real life that are actually getting these results, they're in your city, they're maybe close to your age. It's like, hey, like, this is real. This isn't just some like fairy tale. That's what really inspires me. So I met people like Matt McKeever, Michael Rosehart, my friend like Dylan McLaughlin, and then we ended up creating London on Fire, our meetup group, and they were the ones that were inspiring me, because it was like I didn't know any real estate. I was renting at the time, and these guys owned, I think Matt owned at the time 13 units or something like that, and at the time, and now I've got 23 units, and he's got countless, like he's got like 70 or 80 tenants, or maybe more, 100, or I don't know.
Yeah.
But like it's these people, local people, that have really been the major inspiration for me. And now a lot of my inspiration is people that are doing a lot more traveling and that kind of thing.
Yes.
Because I'm finding that, hey, like a lot of people, when they're in this stage trying to grow toward financial independence, their goal is financial independence. Their goal is to reach that stage, but don't think of that as your goal. Think of that as that's a means to an end, right? Like,
yes.
What is the end? Why do you want financial independence? What do you want to do once you've reached that stage? And I say that because it happened to me a lot faster than I thought, and I don't know what I want now. So and this is me documenting, this is me being real, right?
Yeah.
Like, I don't know what my goal is at this point. I still work full time, and I think a lot of that. Yeah, I still work full time.
So you're a W-2 employee?
I work, yeah, like 40-hour week kind of thing.
Wow.
Yeah.
I did not know that, nor did I expect that whatsoever. Oh my goodness. So obviously that job or occupation is something that you enjoy doing, right?
I'm not passionate about it, and
Okay.
it's not going to be forever.
Yeah.
I'm in a place now where I don't need to work if I don't want to.
Yep. Oh,
It's
I like that.
income, which is great. I'm using it right now to really fine tune my portfolio, get like any other delayed maintenance or deferred maintenance issues out of the way, and like I'm using it. I'm spending a little bit more right now because I have all that excess income.
Yeah.
But I also want to make sure that I'm not, because like lifestyle inflation is one of the real problems that you need to fight back against with financial independence. But yeah, my goal right now is to find out what my goal is right now.
Yeah. Dude, that's awesome. I mean, just admitting that and knowing that, hey, I don't really have this thing figured out. No one has it figured out. That's why I'm calling you, is I want to learn.
Yeah.
I think everyone should be. I feel like I'm a student for life, and I think the minute that you turn that off is the minute that you lose, or you get slapped upside the head by by the world. So
well, people identify by their job and by their occupation or what they do in their life, and if what you're doing in your life isn't something you enjoy, then why would you want to identify by that?
Right.
And I work in software testing. I do software testing. I work with a team of developers, and I break their software, and then they fix it. And
Okay.
like, it's cool. Like it's I'm good at it.
Yep.
And all that, but it's definitely not my passion, and I don't really want to identify by it. So when people say, "What do you do?" Which is, I hate that question.
I know, I do too.
Like, it's not something I really want to talk about, and most people don't. Honestly, it's just a dick measuring contest, right?
Yes.
Like, you have a fancy job, great, but like, who are you as a person, right?
Yes.
Like. So I tend to meet up groups and stuff like that, or when I meet people, I'm like, what have you been doing? What's exciting you recently, right? And like, odds are it's not their job. If it is, that's awesome, right? Like, they're the kind of person who's going to reach financial independence, and they're going to keep working. Maybe they're a doctor, a nurse, or maybe they do filming or things like that, or something creative where they love their job. But odds are it's not a cubicle job, because people don't typically get a lot of satisfaction out of that.
Is there an end goal with the real estate thing? I know you might not have the other stuff figured out, and that's completely fine. Is there a number that you want to hit in terms of rental income or passive income? And we say passive, meaning, he's not trading his time for money. Currently my job is video production. I go and shoot a wedding. I have to be there, and then I have to edit. Like, that's trading my time for money.
Yes.
So I just wanted to make that clear.
Yeah.
But
I don't have a solid goal there. My goal was to build up enough passive income to sustain my lifestyle, and I've doubled or so that right now.
Yes.
It's great.
I love that.
The thing is, you'll tend to see this with almost everyone. They'll reach their goal and they'll set a new goal, and that's what you want to do. I think it's important, and this is me talking to myself, to rather than set your new goal as the same shit you've been doing but bigger, maybe consider different routes, maybe consider different things in your life that you want to pursue. Because for me, I could grow it again, I could double it again. Right now I've got this much, now I've got double the passive income I have right now. That would be great in a lot of ways, and maybe that's what I should do, but maybe I should double down on something else. So I don't know. Like, right now, I do intend on buying more real estate. I don't know how much more. I don't know if I'm going to end up getting. Right now, I still manage things myself, so I still take the calls and texts and stuff from tenants. Maybe I'll eventually hire that out, and maybe it'll mean that, hey, I can acquire more real estate, and it doesn't really add more stress to my life. In which case, I'll probably continue. Mm-hmm. But I don't know. I'm going to buy more. I don't know how much more. A loose goal I have right now is like $10,000 a month in passive, just after obviously all your expenses, but also your capital expenses. Like, hey, I need to replace a furnace every once in a while. I need to replace a roof, that kind of thing. Having that set aside, included in all of this. Mm-hmm. After that, maybe like 10 grand a month, and it's not that far away. Like, it is when you're starting out, but man, the snowball comes quick, because you have the knowledge, you know exactly how to just keep doing what you're doing. You know how to use the BRRRR investing strategy to get your money out of a property and buy the next one. And it comes quicker and quicker. Your momentum grows and grows and grows. And it's the challenge as to whether you want to continue growing it or take what you have and pursue new things.
That $10,000 a month is actually one of my goals. I write down like literally every day, so it's kind of cool to hear that. I almost feel I'm like I'm huge on like writing down my goals and that type of thing. Do you do anything? Do you have any morning rituals? Do you have any like things that help you stay on track and focused on wherever you're headed?
Yeah. And it's not for me a lot of daily routines in terms of my business goals. A lot of it is personal development. I feel like I do enough. I do enough of the business stuff that I need to refocus my mind and spend a little more time for myself. So in the morning I'll get up. I do for a long time I would take 5 minutes and then go to work. But then I found up until quite recently actually, and then I found, hey, like I'm enjoying my mornings a lot more when I get up, do a light workout, do some stretching, that kind of thing. Go to my job. It's not a whole lot in the morning. At night, I use Headspace, the app, for meditation.
Yep.
I highly recommend that just for calming yourself down. Self-awareness I've been talking about a little bit more recently. It's such a powerful concept that I don't think enough people are talking about. Self-awareness can apply to your business, but it can apply to things like social rejection. It can apply to anxiety. It can apply to, I don't know, day-to-day life. If you can understand how you're feeling and bring it to the forefront of your mind instead of letting the feelings control you, it's really powerful. You all of a sudden are like, hey, I'm angry, and you bring that to the forefront. You're like, I understand I'm angry, and you don't let it control you anymore. And it works for so many things. So yeah, Headspace has been really great for that. There's all sorts of different topics you can hit on. A lot of them are businessy. A lot of them are just like general emotions, and I found it to be super helpful.
Wow, that's some great information right there. All right, I think we could continue to chat all day here, but we're gonna wrap this thing up. What is one actionable step that someone could do today to make their life better? For tomorrow, whether that's finances, getting their head in a different place.
Yeah, I mean, I think it'd just be make yourself an actionable goal. People always have these loose goals in mind and that kind of thing. Pick set a real goal or a SMART goal, and something that you think you can actually achieve, and reverse engineer that goal. If your goal is $10,000 a month, what does that look like? Is that in the form of real estate? Is that in the form of mixed income from your job or from some other business that generates passive income and blah, blah, blah? And figure out what that is. If it's real estate, how many properties is that? How much each of those cash flow per month? Reverse engineer your goals, set your goal, and figure out how you're going to reach it.
Yep, you nailed it, man. Hey, well, thank you so much for taking the time today. Hopefully your tenants are all good over there.
Yeah. We're going to the beach today. So.
There you go. I love it, dude. See, that's what I love right there. All right, man. Enjoy your day, and thank you for coming on.
Thanks a lot, Mitch. Have a good one.
Take care.
See ya.